Welcome back to the Become Number One podcast, where our goal and mission is to help you become the best version of yourself while we are on our own pursuit to become the best versions of ourselves.
A little quiet there, huh?
I don't know. I don't feel like it was. Was it?
Sounded a little quiet to me, but
maybe.
We're also in a different setting.
We are in a different setting. See this background behind us?
Yeah, it's going to be a little interesting because right now, he and I are side by side as opposed to kind of being angled towards each other. Because typically, we'd look at each other while we're talking. But now, we're going to be fucking staring right at you.
Staring right at the camera, which is fine because I don't want to look at him anyways.
Okay. We're already taking a turn to this way, aren't we?
Yeah, absolutely. But we have an upgraded background for you guys. For our audio listeners, hop over to YouTube. Give us a thumbs up. Subscribe. What do they say? What are all the...
Like, comment, subscribe.
Okay, there it is.
Yeah, we've made a change.
We have.
And it feels good. I think that every once in a while, changing things up a bit keeps you on your toes. It gives you this like energy and excitement to kind of just spice things up.
I agree. There's this fresh energy, like you said, a fresh energy of change, which makes you kind of want to go a little bit harder, right? You don't want to let yourself down when you put yourself in a new environment.
Yeah, true. True. You don't want to let yourself down when you're in a new environment. As opposed to sometimes we lax on our standards when we're in the same place that we've always been, right? Things get comfortable,
stagnant,
and we don't want that.
No.
So here we are again, somewhere new, trying to just become the best versions of ourselves.
Yeah. Did we just talk about change 2 episodes ago, an episode ago, something like that?
I'm not sure.
I feel like we did, but we're practice what we're preaching here.
Yeah.
But today, I want to talk about fear. But not only fear, but how to use it as fuel. How to turn the scary days, the scary moments, the scary situations, the scary change into something that can be turned into productive force, kind of like what we just talked about. How when you go through change, there's a sense of pressure that you have to do better, that you can't have the last situation look like the current situation. And that's something that I want to talk about today.
Yeah.
Because at every decision that you end up making, there's always the devil and the angel on the shoulder. The devil being the fear, the angel being the future of what it could look like. And I think that's very important to talk about because a lot of people, they let fear hold them back from achieving their dreams, from going after the vision that they have.
Yeah. And don't get us wrong, fear is something that we both experience, that everybody experiences. Everybody has something that just scares the shit out of them. But the difference between people who succeed and achieve the things that they want to are how they handle that fear. That's what most of life is, right? Is everybody's dealt, you take the 7 odd billion people that there are on the planet, and guaranteed everybody's been dealt the same cards in some way, shape, or form. But the thing that separates the winners and the losers are how you deal with that shit.
Absolutely.
And fear is one of those cards that everybody is dealt, but the differentiator is how are you going to use it? Or rather, are you going to use it, or are you going to let it use you?
Yep, absolutely. So by the end of the episode today, you guys will have a better relationship with fear. We'll give you a 3-step process and how you can transform that fear into productive force or momentum. Right. So when it happens again, and let's be honest, it happens to everybody. It happens all the time. Everybody has fear. You'll know what to do, and you'll start taking the right steps in the right direction. So the first thing is, I think we need to reframe fear. Right. We need to reframe it. And we have 2 different ways of thinking. We have the old thinking and the new thinking. So right now, currently, you might experience fear, and that could stop you. Right? When fear pops up, when a decision needs to be made, we could get stagnant.
Yeah. Well, most people to to fear or to trauma, whatever it is, they have 3 responses. It's either fight, flight, or freeze.
Yep.
And a lot of people, and I don't know what it is, how many people tend towards one direction or another, but 2 of those are not going to be productive for you.
Correct.
Either
Yeah.
fleeing or freezing, those aren't going to be productive. And yet that's 2/3 of the 3 ways that this goes. So you're right. Most people, when they experience fear, they stop.
Yep.
And that's something that, if we can, we need to try to reframe.
Yeah. I mean, and let's think about it too. When someone has momentum, right? Someone has momentum, things are going really, really well. They're in flow state. And that fear kicks in, that's going to stop all of your momentum.
Yeah.
All of it. All the work that you did, it all could come down to a single thought. And it can completely get you derailed of where you're going. So old thinking is the fear, right? And you would stop. And then the new thinking, the new mindset that you need to be able to develop is when that fear kicks in, you have to realize that it's a stage of growth.
Yeah.
Right? Stage of growth.
I think, and everybody's going to know, right? Because some people are going to say, well, there's certain things that we do need to stop from, like jumping off of a bridge. But like, let's be real. The fear that you know that you should actually take as a stop signal, you're going to know it. You're going to know it in your soul.
Yes.
Like before jumping off of a cliff or going skydiving. Like that's the type of fear where you're like, all right, maybe I do need to take a step back for a second. But most of the fear in your life, the going to the gym, the starting the business venture, having the hard conversation, those are all things that evoke fear that aren't like life or death. You should stop. Those are things that we do need to reframe to, hey, this is a growth moment. This is something that I don't want to stop. I don't want to freeze. I don't want to flee. I want to face this head on. I want to fight into it.
Yeah, absolutely. And the fear that we're talking about, it shows up when you're doing something meaningful, when you're doing something that matters. It's your internal GPS telling you, hey, this matters to me. That's the fear that we're talking about today. So the next time you feel it, right, you have to realize the old you would stop. And you would let days go by, weeks go by, hours go by, and not do anything about it. You'd get stuck in analysis paralysis. It's not what we're doing now. The new way that we're going to think is, hey, the growth or the fear of when it kicks in, it's a growth moment. It's telling me that something matters. It's telling me that I have a decision to make to be able to push the needle forward and move on with my life in the right direction. Okay. But before we dive into everything that we can do with the fear, we have to realize what it is. And we have to realize what we're currently getting caught at right now that's holding us back. And it's those 2 things.
It's kind of like we talked about before last week. Everything starts with clarity. So this is kind of like the first step. It's getting clear on what the fear is. Mm-hmm. You get clear on it, then you can act on it. Yep. So same thing, recognizing what it is, getting clear on it, the same shit.
Yeah, absolutely. So next time you have that fear, ask yourself, what are you protecting? Or what is it? Because it's usually popping up when there's something meaningful to you, right? The next thing, so that was number 1. The next thing is the feel method, okay? This is very important. So it's a framework that you can use when fear kicks in, and you can move past it, okay? So feel, F-U-E-L, okay? The first one for F is you want to feel it, like let it in. There was this episode of Lost. You know Lost. I know you've watched it.
Yeah.
A lot of people
watched it recently, actually.
Yeah, a lot of people have watched Lost. And I can't remember. It's one of the main characters. She's a girl. Do you know her name?
Kate.
Okay, Kate. And then
somebody obviously hasn't watched it.
Oh, it's been a while. And then what's the guy's name? The doctor.
Jack.
Okay, so Jack and Kate, okay?
Yeah.
They're in the fucking wild, obviously, the jungle, okay? Because that's what the whole show's based off of. And Kate is going through this experience of the jungle where it's, the craziness has happened. And Jack, being a doctor, he's been through a lot of situations where fear can strike in. And what he said to her was, hey, when fear creeps in, I only give it 5 seconds. I feel it. I let it come into my body. I give it 5 seconds and I count to 5. And when 5 comes, I let it go. So that's what we want you to do here for the F. We want you to feel it, understand it. Don't push it away. Don't pretend it's not there. Feel it. Name it. Hey, I'm scared right now. I'm scared because I have to make this decision that's going to determine where I go the next 1 or 2 years. I have to make this decision that's going to maybe positively or negatively affect my family. What is it that you're scared of? Name it. Say it out loud. Be aware of it. Own it.
I used to subscribe to the, hey, shove everything down as much as you can. I still do that at times. Like I'm a great compartmentalizer. And what I've come to learn, at least for myself, is that facing emotion, fear of which is a huge one, is a lot more productive and beneficial for you than just shoving it down and ignoring it. Because it's not like it disappears. The feelings you have don't just fucking poof and go away. So the more you avoid it, the more you don't deal with it, the more this stuff is just going to stack up. And that doesn't mean dwell on it for hours or days or weeks or months. This means, no, feel it and then move on. Whether that's 5 seconds, 10 seconds, whatever it is for you, there's not a right or wrong answer. Feel it and then get past it. Because if you don't feel it, you're not going to be able to do these next 3 things to be able to turn that fear into fuel. So what's number 2? Or
what's you?
You.
You is unpack the message. Unpack the fear. What is it? What is this fear trying to tell me? What is the underlying value or desire that this fear is bringing towards me? What is it? Because what we have to do is we have to separate the concern from the actual fear, okay? So we're unpacking it. We're asking ourselves, okay, why is this fear coming towards me right now? What is it trying to tell me? And maybe, is it correct? Is it not? What's the value in this? Or what's the desire that I'm trying to get at with this fear? So
good. I'll tie this into going to the gym. I think anybody who's ever stepped foot in a gym has felt this fear. Whether you're severely overweight, whether you're incredibly scrawny, the first time everybody steps into a gym, usually they're scared. And it's the fear of, oh shit, everybody's going to look at me and think either A, I'm fat, or B, I'm a twig. Everybody feels that self-consciousness. It's fear. And for a lot of people, it causes them to turn around, walk out that door, and not do what they set out to do. So if you don't feel that if you don't feel that fully and then unpack it, you're not going to be able to realize, shit, everybody's here for the same reason I am. Yep. Nobody's looking at me. Nobody cares. You're not able to go through that if you don't feel and unpack it.
Absolutely. So that's you. You're unpackaging the fear. You're unpackaging the message. The next one is, so we have fuel, F-U, and then we have E. And that's, hey, we're going to look at the board and see what our options are. We're going to examine our options. We're going to ask ourselves, hey, what's the worst possible outcome? What is the worst realistic outcome?
Good. I'm going to keep tying this into the damn gym. I think, and everybody should do this. I do this a lot. I know you do this too, but we run through all the scenarios, to the best outcomes to the absolute worst. And let's say going to the gym actually is something that you have been unable to do thus far because of fear or something else holding you back. The next time you go and you start feeling those emotions, unpack it and let's look at it. Okay, what is the worst thing that could happen? What? Somebody looks at you and judges you and thinks, oh, wow, that person is a first timer. Oh, that person looks this way or that way. Is that really that bad? I mean, one, are you even going to know that they're thinking that? Is that going to change your life? Is that going to harm you? Is that going to do anything to you? No. Okay, what else? You could use a machine and get sore. Okay, well, that's going to fade.
Sore?
Like, what is the worst thing that could happen?
When we ask ourselves that question, because we feel like it's the end of the fucking world when stuff like this, when these problems occur, right? Or when the fear creeps in. And I get, people get anxiety, those things happen. We feel like the world is coming down to our, it's burning down. But we don't we don't ask ourselves the questions that Aidan just asked. Yeah. I'm gonna be sore. I'm gonna be sore, really? That's like the worst thing that could happen. Someone could say something bad about me. Is that really gonna happen? Probably not, right? So what's the worst realistic outcome that could happen? And then on the flip side, we're gonna ask ourselves, what's the best possible outcome?
Yeah.
We don't ask ourselves that question. We only ask ourselves, what's the worst thing that could happen? Or we only think of the worst thing that can happen. We never think about the best case scenario.
And even worse, we blow out of proportion the worst case scenarios and minimize the best case scenarios. Because as you just said, right?
Yes.
Like, what are the worst outcomes of going to the gym? Either A, getting judged by somebody, or B, feeling sore because we're working out for the first time. Okay, what are the best case scenarios? That you end up loving the gym, it absolutely changes your life, and your overall physical health, mental health, emotional health takes a complete 180. All right, let's compare those side by sides. Let's do it apples to apples. I think it's a pretty clear winner of, is this worth it or not?
Yep.
And that's what most people don't do. And I know David does this with a lot of things, but life would get so simple. Your decisions would get so much more simple if you take the pros, the cons, you put them down on paper, and you look at it apples to apples.
I was literally just going to say that.
Yeah.
Literally. I don't know how many times we said that. You can literally solve half your problems if you just take a piece of paper and take the damn 10 minutes and then write out what's going on so you can see it. If we literally just did that, so much would change in your life. But a lot of people, they don't want to take the time. They don't want to take 10 minutes to be able to change their life. And the people that are listening to this podcast, you should be the people that will take the 10 minutes. You will write down the problems. You will compare apples to apples, and you will look at what's the best possible outcome versus the worst possible outcome. Because when we really write it down and we go head to head with the two, usually the upside's better than the downside.
It sounds trivial to do it, but I mean, if this is the thing that's actually going to allow you to start taking action on the things that scare you, well, then do it.
Yeah.
Do it, because it works.
Yep.
It works.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the next thing is, what's the most likely outcome? Not just what is it, but if I do everything that I'm supposed to do, right? I don't take shortcuts. I don't skip the workouts. I don't skip the meals. I don't skip the work. What is the most likely outcome? Because I guarantee the most likely outcome is probably the best outcome.
Yeah.
If you're doing everything right.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more. Once again, we focus, and this is like human nature. I've heard so many successful and experienced people say this, but we as humans tend to focus so much on the negatives as opposed to the positives. Mm-hmm. And yet at the end of the day, the positives are actually a lot more frequent than the negatives are if you play it over time, especially to the degree that we blow it up in our minds. So, I mean, once again, take the time to just compare it side by side, and I think the answer is going to be clear.
Yep, absolutely. There's this, obviously, the saying, what would I do if I couldn't fail? Right? Everyone knows that saying. But I heard the saying about a year ago, maybe, and I probably heard it multiple times before that, but it really hit me. Everyone hears something multiple times before it really hits them, right?
Yeah.
And it was the complete opposite of what would I do if I couldn't fail? Or what would I do if I would have failed? It was, what if I do it and it works out? Right? What if I do it and it works out? And I had the option. I'll just give you a personal story. I had the option to work with a mentor, which costs a lot of money, right? And everyone gets caught up in what we just talked about. And I was a victim for this as well. Was, oh my gosh, well, what if it doesn't work? What if I spend all of this money and I don't make any money back, or I don't learn anything, or he doesn't talk to me or takes the time, all that stuff. I was asking myself all of those questions. But then it dawned on me, well, what if it does work? What if it does? And I invested the money. And I made a shit ton of money because I invested that money. I cut the learning curve. I learned so much. All because I asked myself that one question. I would have not done it if I didn't ask myself that question. What if it does work? And then I started playing all the scenarios in my head of it working, right? I had clarity on it. And I did it. And it worked very well, right? So fuel. The fuel method. We're going to examine our options. We're going to unpack the message.
And we got one more.
And we're going to fuel it fully.
The L.
And the L. You want to go over that one, Aidan?
Well, it's to leverage energy. So you've felt it, you've unpacked it, you've examined it. Now it's time to use it, right? So I do think that we got energy flowing around us all the time. We got positive energy, but we also got negative energy. Yeah, a lot of people look at it just us as beings as energy. So if you can look at your fear for what it is, you now have the ability. And I believe this. He believes this. You can choose to believe this. You can choose not to believe this. But if you've really looked at your fear for what it is, I do believe that you can take what was once negative energy and you can now twist it, change it, morph it into positive energy. You can use it as okay, cool. You know what? This fear is unfounded, but you know what? I'm going to use that as a sign to tell me I'm doing the right thing. I'm on the right path. I'm in the right place. Use that to amp you up. Use that to drive you, to give you a boost of motivation to go and actually hit that thing head on. So once again, I think that a lot of this is just, a lot of life is changing the frameworks through which you see the world and in which you operate within the world. And I think that your ability to take your feelings and be able to take all that emotion, take all that power, take all that energy and change it from something negative to something positive is a huge key to success. And this is not something that just happens overnight. This is something that you have to practice.
Yep.
Like just about every fucking thing else in this world. You got to practice it. So this is a great thing to start practicing now. Anytime you feel fear, once again, feel it fully, truly identify where it is, what it is, unpack it, do the pros and cons, examine it, and then find a way to actually leverage and use it.
Yeah, absolutely. The best way that I could explain this is when people work the hardest is usually when their back's against the wall or they need to get something done immediately. It could be the student that has a assignment due tomorrow. It could be the person that, hey, rent's due in 3 days. I have to come up with $2,000, right? That's usually when they work the hardest. Why? Because the fear creeped in. So people already do this subconsciously, but they don't realize it. And when we're tapped into that kind of energy, we'll go just through about anything to get it done. And this is the same exact thing. The fear kicked in. Your back's against the wall. Now it's time to go out and to turn that fear into productive action, right? So you probably already do this because we all push things off. It happens. We're all human beings, okay? But we can draw on this at any point in time.
That's a really good example. I mean, I know I saw this in myself and just about everybody else that I went to college in. Anybody who's been through high school has probably experienced this, but most people procrastinate, all right? Just about everybody does with something in their life. So what happens? You procrastinate, you have a deadline, and all of a sudden you fucking act with frenzy. It's like boom, 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 boom. What is that? You're taking this energy and you're channeling it into doing this one thing because, oh shit, what happens if I don't meet this deadline? Oh, I can't not hit this deadline. Yep. That's exactly what this is. So you've done it at some point. Now you just need to be able to take that.
Well, you have to realize when the fear is coming in that you can use it.
Yeah. I mean, you probably didn't even realize, like David said, you probably didn't even realize you were doing this before. So now you need to take something that you weren't conscious about and now be able to do it at will.
Yes. And if you can just do that right there, because once you grow, you're always going to have setbacks. You're always going to have fear kicking in. When there's new levels, there's new devils. It's true. Okay. There's new problems. There is. Right. So it's always going to arise, but we need to be able to draw on it at will. And if there's no problems, there's no fear kicking in. If you can still do this, well, you're going to be 10 steps ahead of everybody because everybody else can only do it when fear kicks in or when things need to get done. Okay. But if you can be the person that can get the things done when at any point in time, there's no deadline and you can just do it at will, well, you're going to be farther ahead than everybody else. Okay.
100%.
So that's the second one, fuel. Okay. Use that framework. Use it because it will work. I promise you. The next one, the last one, okay, and we're going to let you guys go here. We like to keep things short,
and
productive.
This camera's about to fucking overheat, so
okay. Well, we're going to go fast. So
kick out on it.
Turning the productive fear shift, the productive fear shift, right? We kind of just covered on it with the fuel, but just ask yourself these few questions, okay? What's the cost of not acting? If I don't do it, what's it going to cost me? That's it. What is it going to cost me if I don't do it? Throw out all the negative things. Look at the positive. What's the cost of not doing it, okay? Yeah. And then Ask yourself, how can I use this energy productively? Come up with a game plan. We've talked about the power list, writing 5 things down. This is Andy Frisella's. This isn't mine. I use it every single day, and it works. Winning the day, okay? What are the things that I can do today to get me closer to that, where I can put this fear, into productive action, into productive force? Ask yourself that question, come up with a game plan, and do it, okay?
Life is it really is a set of frameworks. And if you can just take a fucking beat and ask yourself these questions anytime you're feeling, anytime you're feeling fear or anything else, your life is going to get so much better.
Yeah. All you're doing is you're changing the framework. That's it. Life, like Aidan said, it comes down to a couple questions, a couple frameworks. That's it. You're changing the I'm too scared to, hey, I'm scared, but I'm going to do it anyways. What if I fail? What if I succeed? I can't handle this. No, I can handle it, and I'm going to grow. Those are the questions that you're going to ask yourself. So guys, use this method, use this framework, use what we talked about, because everybody experiences fear. It happens. It's a part of life. But what's going to separate the people is the people that actually do something about the fear versus the people that let that control them. And don't be that person, okay? We care about you guys. We love you guys. We appreciate you for watching the show. Let this be the time where you go out and you take change, you take massive action, and you change your lives. We'll see you next time.